Yeah, look at you. Look. Yeah, look. This is called... Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
Let me go. Stop. It's right here. My gosh. Oh my. You're unbelievable. No, you.
There is a specific type of disaster that is fascinating to study, not the kind where something goes wrong despite everyone trying their best. Those are tragedies. Those deserve sympathy. I mean the other kind. The kind where every single warning sign was visible from space, where multiple adults in expensive suits looked directly at those warning signs, nodded thoughtfully, and said, "Yeah, let's invest millions of dollars in this. What could go wrong?" And that is the story of Taylor Frankie Paul, the woman who didn't just destroy her own career. She vaporized an entire season of The Bachelorette before a single episode aired. And here's the thing that I cannot stop thinking about. Everyone knew. Welcome back, my body language buddies. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy, and today we are going to perform a full autopsy on what might be the most preventable catastrophe in reality television history. We go back to the year 2020. The world has locked itself inside, and a 26-year-old Mormon mother in Utah named Taylor Frankie Paul discovers TikTok. Now, TikTok in 2020 is a very specific environment. It rewards a very specific type of personality. Not necessarily the most talented, not the most educated, the most watchable. And watchable in TikTok's algorithmic language means one thing above all else. You make people feel something fast. Joy, outrage, desire, second-hand embarrassment, it doesn't matter. The platform doesn't care which emotion it is. It just needs the emotion to be strong. And Taylor has this. She is charismatic. She is moderately attractive. She understands instinctively that personal confession creates connection. She built a collective called Mom Talk, a group of Utah Mormon mothers posting dance videos, beauty tutorials, and confessionals about their lives. And she becomes the leader of it. By 2021, she has millions of followers. Now, here's the first thing I want you to notice, because this is where the story gets psychologically interesting. Her rise is not built on skill. It's not built on expertise. It's built on access to her life. The audience follows her because they feel like they know her. They feel like she is real. They feel like, unlike the carefully curated facade of most influencers, Taylor is actually letting them in. And this is a very seductive feeling. And it is also, I want to suggest to you, a trap for the audience and eventually for Taylor herself. In June 2022, Taylor goes live on TikTok and announces that she and her husband have been practicing what she describes as soft swinging. I want to be precise here because the details matter. The arrangement, as Taylor explains it, allowed both of them to be intimate with other people with one rule. You cannot go all the way unless your spouse is present in the room. Taylor then announces that she broke this rule. She developed feelings for another man. She had sex with him outside the agreed conditions, and she is getting divorced. She delivers this information in the same casual confessional register she uses to talk about her skincare routine, and the video explodes. Millions of views, comments pouring in, controversy, sympathy, fascination, condemnation, all of it amplified, all of it converting into followers, engagement, and crucially, money. And here's what Taylor learns from this moment, and I want you to really sit with this because it becomes the key to understanding everything that follows. She learns that the most valuable currency she has is her own drama. The more destabilizing her personal life is, the more attention she gets. the more attention she gets, the more money she makes. The more money she makes, the more she is rewarded for continuing to behave in destabilizing ways. And this is not unique to Taylor. This is actually a well-documented psychological mechanism, and it has a name. We will get to the name in a moment. And it's important to remember that I have written a book called How to Know If He's Manipulating You, and it could be also How to Know If She's Manipulating You. You can find it in the link in the description, and you will find out about every single way toxic personalities try to manipulate you. 4 days after the TikTok divorce confession, the algorithm barely has time to cool down, Taylor meets Dakota Mortensen on Instagram, and within months, she is pregnant with his child. By February 2023, Taylor, Dakota, and her daughter Indy, who is 5 years old, are living together in a townhouse in Harriman, Utah. And on the night of February 17th, 2023, at approximately 11 p.m., something happens in that house. We know what happens because Dakota records it, and because the recording survives, and because the recording eventually surfaces, and because the recording is exactly as bad as the criminal charges suggested it was. In the video, Taylor is screaming. She kicks Dakota. She puts him in a headlock. She throws her phone at him. She throws a wooden playset. Then she throws metal bar stools, multiple bar stools, and one of them strikes Indy, her 5-year-old daughter, in the head. Dakota, still recording, says, "Your daughter is sitting right there." So, Taylor is arrested. She is charged with assault, criminal mischief, and domestic violence in the presence of a child. In August 2023, she pleads guilty to aggravated assault, a third-degree felony, and she's given a deal. If she meets certain conditions for 3 years, no alcohol, no drugs, no additional violations, completion of a domestic violence evaluation, the felony gets reduced to a misdemeanor. So 3 conditions that a reasonable person might look at and say, well, these are not difficult to meet. These are the bare minimum of functioning adult behavior. And this is where I want to introduce the psychological concept that runs through this entire story. It's called the just world fallacy. The just world fallacy is the belief, often unconscious, that the world is fundamentally fair, that people get what they deserve, that good behavior is rewarded and bad behavior is punished. It's a comforting belief, and it is also believed that reality will attack relentlessly with no mercy whatsoever. So the just world fallacy is why lottery winners think they deserve to win. It's why people blame victims of crime for putting themselves in that situation. And it's why someone who has been richly rewarded for chaotic, boundary-violating behavior might reasonably conclude on a deep, felt level, not a logical one, that the rules do not apply to them. Because from Taylor's perspective, the rules hadn't applied to her. Every time she violated a social norm, the swinging confession, the scandal, the divorce drama, she was rewarded. More followers, more views, more money, more opportunities. And when you are rewarded for breaking rules repeatedly, you do not learn that rules exist. You learn that rules are for other people. You learn that consequences are something that happen to the less charismatic. But this is not a moral judgment. This is a description of a very predictable psychological process. In September 2024, a Hulu reality show called The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives premieres. Taylor is the lead. The show's very first episode features body camera footage from her arrest. The domestic violence incident is not hidden. It is, in fact, the opening act. And the show is a hit. It grows across 4 seasons. Taylor becomes more famous. There are more sponsorships, more opportunities. The reward cycle continues. And this is the moment a group of very smart, very well-paid people at Disney looks at this situation, the criminal conviction, the body camera footage, the documented history of erratic behavior, the relationship drama playing out in real time on a Hulu show they also own, and decides this woman should be the Bachelorette. Let me say that one more time. Disney, who owns ABC and Hulu simultaneously, casts a woman with a pending felony conviction, a documented history of domestic violence, and an active on-again, off-again relationship with the man she assaulted, to star in a romantic reality show about finding love. I want to give them the benefit of every possible doubt. I want to steelman this decision as hard as I can. But The Bachelorette had seen sharp viewership declines. They needed a famous face, and Taylor was famous. She had proven she could handle a camera and an audience. She had demonstrated on their own platform that she was compelling television. She was different from the typical casting, fresh, edgy. I can see the pitch. Totally. The problem is that this pitch requires you to completely ignore the question of what happens when a person with Taylor's particular personality profile and Taylor's particular relationship history is handed a national stage, a romance narrative, and crucially, the same man she assaulted still hovering in the background, still romantically interested, still texting, "Save a rose for me." In February 2026, 3 years and 1 day after the original incident, police in Draper City, Utah, opened a domestic assault investigation involving Taylor Frankie Paul and Dakota Mortensen. At this point, The Bachelorette is already filmed. Months of production, 22 men, scheduled to premiere March 22nd. And Disney has invested heavily on this. Promotions are running. Taylor is doing press. She's attending media events. She is being asked carefully and diplomatically about the investigation, and she is giving careful diplomatic answers about how heavy things are right now and how she just needs to speak her truth when the time is right. She is still doing press. The show is still going to air. This is happening. Then comes March 19th. And TMZ publishes the video. Not just a description of the 2023 incident, not court documents, not police reports, the actual video. Dakota recording on his phone, Taylor screaming, the kicks, the headlock, the wooden playset, the metal bar stools, the sound of a child crying, and your daughter is sitting right there. 3 hours later, Disney issues a statement. In light of the newly released video just surfaced today, we have made the decision to not move forward with a new season of The Bachelorette at this time. And that's it. An entire season of television gone. Reportedly yanked from the press screening side while the decision was still being made internally. American Idol reruns rescheduled in its place on Sunday. 22 men who spent weeks filming a season that will apparently never air, pursuing a woman whose criminal history they presumably knew about, now discovering their screen time does not exist. All because a video surfaced. But not new information. The same information that was in the body camera footage in the pilot episode of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. The same information that was in the court documents. The same information that Disney had access to when they offered Taylor the job. The only thing that changed was the format. Facts you can distance yourself from, but video you cannot. There is something almost mathematically precise about the timing. The same system that made Taylor Frankie Paul famous was the system that ended her. The same audience attention that built Mom Talk was the audience attention that, the moment the video dropped, turned completely. The same engagement machine that rewarded the swinging confession rewarded the destruction of The Bachelorette. The machine doesn't care. It never did. It just needed something to watch. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. Were the warning signs clear enough that Disney had no excuse, or is there something about video specifically versus knowing the facts that changes how we process information? My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Body Language Guy. Much love and bliss.